What's up, guys? Manic here with Manic Conspiracies. Today we're going to be covering the mysterious boy in the box. And this case is from over 60 years ago. But it happened right here in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. And it still baffles people today. So, basically, this guy was walking through this forest and ended up finding this box that had a boy in it that was dead. He was naked, he was battered, it was not good. They also call him America's Unknown Child. That's actually what his headstone reads. A permanent reminder of the child who lies beneath it. He was found dead alone in a box, and no one could identify him. And they tried. They made a clay sculpture of what his father would look like. They made him, they sat him up, and they took a picture of him after the funeral director person. I don't know technical names for that, but after they did him up, they took a picture of him to try and get somebody to identify him and say, hey, that's my kid. But nobody identified him. Nobody identified the dad. Nothing. So it's one of Philadelphia's most baffling crimes. So this all happened in 1957. This is when, he was found, and it was a hunter who was setting his traps. He set near a park just north of Philadelphia, and as he moved through the brush, he found a small cardboard box lying discarded on the ground. Inside was the naked body of a boy wrapped in a plaid blanket. Fearing that the police would confiscate his traps if he alerted them to the box, the young hunter ignored it and resumed hunting. Several days later, a college student driving down the road noticed a bunny running alongside the highway. The student knew there were traps in the area and stopped to make sure the animal was safe. As he sifted through the underbrush searching for traps, he came across the box. Though he too feared interaction with the police, the student reported the body to them. So the hunter didn't, say, hey, I found this, dead boy in a box. So that, to me right there, because again, I would be, of course, if I stumble upon a dead body, I'm going to be freaked out. And no, I'm not going to want to go to the police. They're going to question, you, and they're going to ask you, if you, so I understand that. But at the same time, you just make yourself look even more suspicious when you find it and you don't report it. So who was the boy in the box? And this is the biggest question that's baffled, So they thought he would be quickly identified. He never was. 400,000 flyers were sent out to the Philadelphia area, as well as other towns in Pennsylvania, trying to get them to identify this boy in the box. Personally, I think they should have went outside of Pennsylvania, just because, it could have been somebody who killed them in a different state and then dropped them off in these woods in Pennsylvania. So that could have happened. The crime scene itself was searched several times. There were no leads, though. To this day, it still remains a mystery. It is pretty much run cold. So, theory number one about the boy in the box. In 1960, an employee of the medical examiner's office was told by a psychic that the boy in the box had come from a local foster home. The police inquired about the boy at the foster home and found blankets similar to the one he had been wrapped in hanging on the clothesline, as well as a bassinet that was sold in the same box that the boy had been found in. The employee theorized that the boy had been born to the daughter of a man who ran the foster home and that his death had been accidental. Despite the employee's insistence of these facts, no connection was ever made between the boy in the box and the foster home. So that's pretty creepy to me. I mean, if you found blankets that were similar to the one he had been wrapped in, hanging on the clothesline, and you found a bassinet that was sold in the exact same box the boy had been found in, right there, that box is enough to say, hey, we need to look into this foster care place because that they have the same box. I mean, how bizarre is it that the same box this little boy is, been put in. I don't think he died in it. Been put in the box. How crazy is it that this foster care has the exact same bassinet, but no box? Why wouldn't you be looking? Okay, but that's okay. It wasn't until over 40 years later that another shocking theory emerged, and that is where theory number 2 comes into play. And that is that a woman referred to only as M came forward, claiming that the boy had been purchased by her abusive mother and abused for several years in her home. M claimed that the boy vomited up his dinner of baked beans. Her mother had bashed his head against the wall as punishment. Then she'd attempted to bathe him, during which he had died. The police instantly followed the lead, as there were remains of baked beans in the boy's stomach, and his fingers appeared to be water wrinkled. Those were both pieces of information that were never shared with the public. They were also encouraged by M's description of the boy as a small child with long hair. This fit their theory that his hair had recently been chopped. And that I didn't really actually touch base on, but they at one point thought that it could have been a boy who was living as a girl because his hair was so long and it looked like it had just been chopped off. As well as an old testimony from a man who claimed to have seen the boy being placed in the box near the woods. Unfortunately, the police eventually let the theory slide, as they were unable to verify M's claims. After looking into M's background, they found a history of mental illness. When they attempted to corroborate her claims with neighbors and friends, all of them denied ever seeing a child in the home. The theory was eventually dismissed as ridiculous. So I think with this theory, for one, the fact that they found baked beans in the boy's stomach right there. Okay, she's saying that he threw up baked beans and her mother bashed his head in and then went to bathe him, and that's when he died. That's how he died. And that stuff was never released to the public that he had baked beans in his stomach, so how would she know? I think, to be honest with you, I think the police didn't do a lot. I think these are both good theories that they should have went and they should have pursued. And unfortunately, they didn't pursue them. And I think it's because that either way you look at this, either the boy's in foster care or he was sold to an abusive mother. So, several other of the theories have been, came into play, but all of them have been discounted. I personally think either one of those theories could be exactly what happened. And I think that they shouldn't say, I'm sorry, but just because a person has a mental illness, you're just going to, write them off and say, oh, they have a mental illness, we can't credit them as a witness. We can't take anything they say into accountability because they have a mental illness. That's fucked up. That's really fucked up. So I personally think that this will remain America's unknown child, because either way you look at it, if it was the foster care, they're not going to stick up and they're not going to say anything about it. And if it was the abusive mother, she's definitely not going to stick up and say anything about it. So unfortunately, this child is going to just be unidentified. Except for the killers, they know who he is. They know who he was. So it's just sad. It's very sad. That little boy didn't deserve it. He didn't deserve to die, be left in a box. So that's all I have today for the boy in the box murder. Again, it could be either one of them. So like and subscribe as always, and let me know down in the comments, what do you guys think? Do you guys think it was the first theory? Do you think it was the second theory? Do you think it was neither? Do you think it was your own theory? What's your own theory? Let me know down in the comments, all right? I hope you guys enjoyed. Peace out.